Hi, I'm Jonathan Edwards, and welcome to part 2 of Cruising America's Waterways, the Oswego Canal, Sackett's Harbor, and the Thousand Islands. Now, if you got to travel with us the last time, you got to see some great places and meet some interesting people, including, of course, crew member Nancy and Captain James. Well, there's more straight ahead, so let's get underway.
With our four-legged crew member safely on board, we pushed off the wall at the Municipal Marina in Gananoque, Ontario, where we spent the night. During the course of the day's voyage, we would be crossing an invisible border in the St. Lawrence that separates the United States and Canada before docking in Clayton, New York.
We're going to head through this channel, down through the Wolf Island Cut. Clayton is up here.
By law, we had to check in with U.S. Customs upon arrival in Clayton, just as we had to check in with Canadian Customs in Kingston, our first port in Canada.
She's your friend. Always your friend.
Always. No matter how bad you sing, no matter how much of a jerk you are, you come back to the room and she's there going, I still like you.
Ready to hug you.
Hi. Hi, Latte. I'll keep you warm all night. Promise. That's what she says.
We docked at the Antique Boat Museum. This is a first-class facility that draws visitors from around the world.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, welcome to the Antique Boat Museum. We're a seasonal institution, open May through October. We have a collection of nearly 200 vessels.
Wow.
Is it hard to find these boats? Is it difficult to locate
Actually,
them?
I have a call nearly every day from someone who is offering a boat to be donated.
They're a lot of work.
They're a lot of work, and a lot of people aren't able to keep it up. They still love the boats, and it's amazing the connections and the bonds that are formed between the owner and their boat.
I can understand it. These are beautiful boats. And I suppose you put that kind of work in on it and you feel real connected.
This Hutchinson was built in Alexandria Bay, 10 miles from here, and it is just one of the classic styles of the river. It is the sedan commuter. This was used by many of the islands in the river for actually a workboat, going to town to get groceries, going to church on Sunday, whatever needed to be done to transport.
The boat was donated to the museum a few years back. The name of it is Cedarmere, and it's a wonderful example of an early launch.
I think people like antique boats just because of an antique anything. It's pretty, it yearns to be touched, the varnish is deep, and I think because of the romanticism of the era.
As part of the turn of the century in the Thousand Islands, this was the playground for the rich and famous, or the very well-to-do from the New York City area. There was a train connected from New York City to Clayton, and from the depot, the steam launches would be there ready to pick up the passengers and take them to their islands for the summer months.
We'll notice today when we're using this boat on a relatively flat river that the boat is very kind. The boat has a tendency to move itself through the water very sharply, very quietly, and is not affected by weather conditions that might have an effect on another boat.
Dixie 2 is one of our favorite boats in the collection, and by and large a favorite of many of our visitors. Last year, Dixie 2 was invited to attend the Grimaldi Dynasty's 700th anniversary celebration in Monaco Classic Week in Monaco. The irony kind of Dixie going to Monaco is that out of 107 races raced, it won 106 and lost, the only one in Monaco in 1909.
Now, you say this is a race boat. I'm wondering, how fast would a race boat of that day go?
Well, this boat, the average speed was actually only 31 miles per hour, so it's amazing, you know, the advances in technology and how fast boats go today. Talking about speed, this is a Canadian-built boat, actually built by Gravette, and it has just come back to the museum. It was on loan to the Science and Technology Museum in Ottawa, Canada, and they had an exhibition that focused on speed, everything from locomotives to watercraft of this nature. This is an interesting garwood. It's a garwood speedster, very rare, and this particular one is named Misbehave. There was also Misunderstood, Misfortune, Mischief, and Misconduct. So you can imagine all of them together in a race would be quite something to see. We have the power boats, and people are able to get the sensation of what it was about to run around the river in a runabout. And now, of course, for those non-powered lovers, we'll have the St. Lawrence River skiff available for rent.
Recreational boating is a family sport, and you're going to be able to do it with the whole family, and it has a bad rap of being expensive. It is no more expensive than skiing or golfing or any of the other recreation that your family might take part in.
I'm glad you were able to visit. It's fun having people who are interested in boats and even those who are just interested in the beautiful St. Lawrence come up to the river.
Thanks for having us.
We're at the Thousand Island Inn in Clayton, New York, where we are going to find out the real story behind Thousand Island dressing. And I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about this.
Thousand Islands dressing was first served out on the islands at shore dinners. A guy by the name of George Lalone served this dressing on his salads when he did shore dinners. He guided New York stage actress May Irwin and her husband, and she loved the recipe and asked him for it. So his wife, Sophia, gave her the recipe. She, in turn, gave it to Mrs. Bertrand, who were the original owners of the inn here. And they put it on the menu as the house dressing here at that time. May Irwin, in turn, gave the recipe to George Bolt, who is of Bolt Castle in the area here, and he gave it to his chef, Oscar, of the Waldorf. Oscar then served it to the public, made the name prominent, and that's how Thousand Islands dressing got known.
Many visitors to the river first tried Thousand Islands dressing at a traditional shore dinner.
This is a perch. We cut there and we slide that knife down the backbone like thus. And then we get it down there, we flip him out like this. And then all the skin disappears and we've got a fillet.
But I catch all the fish. You know, the rest of them sit there in the boat and watch me. So that's why they bring me.
Because most people, they like to fish all day, and this is a half-day type thing. You fish till about 1 or 2. Then you do your shore dinner. It takes probably 3 hours to do. Potatoes in the spot, corn in here. Just let them boil. Leave them on there for probably about 20 minutes, half an hour. Let the fire get good and hot. The fat back is literally fat right off the pig. And it's salted, cured. And this is what makes the whole shore dinner. This little recipe right here. Just pour it right in. The sound, you just let that cook for a little while, probably 20 minutes, half an hour until it gets golden brown. What it does, it shrivels right up real small into like a French fries shape. And then you cook with all the liquid that's in it. These here starts to brown up just like that. And all the oil just comes right out of it. People like the atmosphere up here. And if you show them a real good time, and a lot of people just come up here to relax. And yes, the fishing is a plus. And the St. Lawrence has always been an excellent place to catch fish, bass, walleye, muskies. But more so that people just like to have a good time and just enjoy themselves outdoors.
I've been coming up here for 30-some years, and this is my family, and we do this once a year just to make sure that we stay in touch with each other.
Really, you don't see too many new guides up here because it takes a while to learn all the islands. And I've learned it from one of the best, my father, right there. How we coming? Then as it settles right here, it'll just turn more brown.
White bread.
Show the man here how to do it.
Yeah, I love it.
Show him how to do it. You gotta crease it.
You gotta crease it.
Crease it.
Creasing it, of course. And of course, the fat goes on there. You don't really care how much fat goes on. Then a little bit of onion so that your girlfriend loves you when you come home later. There you go.
Oh, excellent sandwich.
Excellent. What we caught today were probably about 15 to 18 bass in that area, some perch. That's the sound of magic right there, that sound. Fries up really fast.
not proud. He's proud.
Tater right
All
there.
right,
Put
Tater.
your finger on it.
Here's the Thousand Islands dressing.
Yeah, we got it.
You guys want any fish? Fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Real tender meat. It just sears it.
Move fish. Got caught on that shoal.
You bet.
Well, they-
Do is crack them all up. Then we add all the good stuff to them. Put a little bit of half and half or just pure cream. Just pour that right in there like so. Add a little bit of sugar. Gives a little bit of sweetness to it. Stir it around. Get that right in there like that. A couple minutes, or even 20 seconds, and it's done.
This is fat front. You got fat back.
Pass it around.
And then Jackie?
Just a lot?
Just a lot. French toast flambe. Spank it. Oh yeah, spank it. Now you understand why we do this.
Well, we've got ourselves kind of a gray day here in the Thousand Islands, but we're still having fun. The scenery is still spectacular. And we're going to be going under the Thousand Islands International Bridge right up ahead, and Nancy's got the rest of the story. She'll fill us in.
The Thousand Islands International Bridge links the United States and Canada. It has 5 spans. The American span is the longest, rising 150 feet above the river. The American terminus is at Collins Landing near Alexandria Bay, and the Canadian terminus is at Ivy Lee near Gananoque. The bridge's location was a result of geography. Nearby islands meant shorter bridge spans and therefore less costly construction. Native Mohawks performed much of the elevated steelwork. Their ancestors called the Thousand Islands region the Garden of the Great Spirit. Not a single life was lost during construction. The bridge was built in just 1 year at a cost of $3 million. It was the first to connect New York State and Canada. United States President Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Canadian Prime Minister William Mackenzie King officially opened the bridge on August 18, 1938. They pledged everlasting friendship and cooperation between their two nations. Said King that day, "There is indeed no more striking symbol of unity and friendship than a bridge." The Thousand Islands sky deck on Hill Island offers a magnificent view of the bridge and the islands.
Well, Nancy and I are here at Bolt Castle, which is this beautiful structure built on its own island called Hart Island. And it's apparently quite a romantic little story about how this came to be, and Nancy's going to tell us more about that as we go along.
George Bolt, owner of the world-famous Waldorf Astoria in New York and the Bellevue Stratford in Philadelphia, bought Hart Island. In 1900, he began construction of a full-size replica of a Rhineland castle, reminiscent of his native Germany, to give to his wife Louise. Ulster Tower, also known as the Playhouse, was completed and occupied by the Bolt family for 4 years while the castle was being constructed. The Bolts had this powerhouse built to provide electricity for the castle, utilizing steam turbine generators. The Dovecote was one of 11 buildings to be constructed on the island. It featured a rooftop pigeon house where they planned to collect fancy fowl. Adorning the 120-room castle and its grounds are hundreds of hearts, a symbol of George's love for Louise. The castle rose 6 stories from the foundation-level indoor swimming pool to the highest tower chamber. An underground passage was constructed so that goods being delivered to the castle could be transported directly to storage rooms out of sight of the castle's main floors. The finest artists, craftsmen, and materials were acquired for Bolt Castle. The first floor's plans called for a reception room, billiard room, and dining room. A skylight was designed to overlook the grand staircase, but it was never completed. In January 1904, all work on the castle stopped. Louise had died. The 300 workmen left the island, never to return. A heartbroken George Bolt, who had spent over $2.5 million on the project, never set foot on the island again. This historic treasure is being slowly brought back to life through a painstaking renovation process as a tribute to one loved and lost. A shuttle at the castle's docks takes visitors to the Bolt Yacht House on nearby Wellesley Island. The Yacht House and Bolt Castle are being preserved by the Thousand Islands Bridge Authority.
Well, the Bolt Yacht House was completed by George Bolt in 1899, 1 year in advance of the construction of his castle over on Hart Island. It's typical, but yet the largest, of yacht houses along the St. Lawrence River during the turn of the century. This represents the last remaining large-style yacht house existing along the St. Lawrence River today. The large bay slips are over 100 feet in length. If you go down river and look back up and see the breadth of the building, you just see the enormous size of it. And in dollars at the turn of the century, it only cost $50,000 to build this structure. It housed George Bolt's large motor yachts, his race boats. He had a flotilla of about 60 boats. This is referred to as a caretaker's residence, superintendent of his vessels. George Bolt himself probably would not have stayed in this particular building, but certainly could have. To say it's one of a kind now is accurate.
Nearby is Alexandria Bay. This trading village of the early 1800s has become a summer playground for the thousands who visit annually. Today's visitors are attracted by the same things that brought the first tourists to the region in the 1850s, the Thousand Islands' beauty and excellent fishing. There are watercraft of all types and sizes sharing the municipal docks and taking advantage of the nearby marinas. In Alexandria Bay, you can find resorts, restaurants, and a variety of shops catering to vacationers' every need. The first tour boats went out of Alexandria Bay in 1874 and haven't stopped since. You really haven't seen the islands unless you've cruised by them on a boat. There are actually over 1,800 islands and 3,000 shoals in the Thousand Islands, extending along a 50-mile stretch of the St. Lawrence River. In the Thousand Islands, an island is defined as any landmass above water 365 days a year that supports at least one tree. With all these islands and shoals, it's important for boaters to use their charts. The granite that forms this region is very unforgiving. From May to October, the Thousand Islands is a boater's paradise. You can use your own boat, board a tour boat, or rent a boat to explore the river and its many attractions, including over 40 Canadian and American parks, some accessible only by boat. The region has many full-service marinas, boat ramps, and municipal docks. Many islands get electrical and telephone service from cables that run along the bottom of the river from the mainland. For most island dwellers, the only way to get to their cottages is by boat. If you love boats, you'll see an unmatched variety of styles and vintages exploring this river. This aircraft is on the pier at Brockville, Ontario, which is located on the western shore of the river downstream from Alexandria Bay. Brockville has a friendly and charming waterfront with a boardwalk for strolling, beautiful parks, and convenient hotels, restaurants, and shops. The Brockville Municipal Harbor is a protected marina with over 70 boat slips and an additional 1,200 feet of dock space. Brockville is home to Fulford Place, built by Canadian Senator George Taylor Fulford. He made his fortune marketing his cure-all remedy, pink pills for pale people. The 35-room mansion housed Fulford and his family, his wife Mary, and children Dorothy, Martha, and George.
The senator took delivery of the Majidoma in 1904. They feel that perhaps the yacht was as expensive to operate as this house was. It had a crew of 11, wonderful dining room, staterooms, was used for a variety of social occasions. And then in 1909, the Majidoma sailed to Quebec City, and Martha was married on board the yacht.
Located in Ogdensburg, New York, at the eastern end of the Thousand Islands region, is the Frederick Remington Art Museum.
Frederick Remington was one of the primary image makers of the West. He has pretty much formed at least Americans' understanding of our history, because a lot of his illustrations were used in magazines and books to bring the West to the East. And then now even school children's school books have those same illustrations or paintings by Remington. He has formed our idea of how the West was won. We also have artifacts like Indian moccasins or an Indian saddle that help us interpret Remington so that the visitor can see how he worked, with seeing the tools that he used, whether it be a paintbrush and his palette or his sculpting stand and armature. In addition to images of the West, he also did a lot of works from the North Country, the St. Lawrence River, the Adirondack Mountains. If you read his journals, you see that in the winter months while he's working in New Rochelle, he can't wait to get back to his island. He was waiting for the ice to break on the St. Lawrence River.
For over 30 years, Hans Junge has captured the beauty of the Thousand Islands region in his watercolors.
Well, first of all, I spend a lot of time outside, out in nature, and I look for subject matters. And as I hoof around all over the islands, and years ago I used to take my boat out, I would run into some interesting areas. Any season is of interest to me, you know, winter or fall or spring or summer. It's all very exciting to paint the different times of the year up here in the islands.
While traveling to the Thousand Islands Club from Ogdensburg, we passed Jorstad Castle on Dark Island. It's the former hunting lodge and summer home of Singer sewing machine president Frederick Bourne, a man who loved boating. He was Commodore of the Long Island Yacht Club. Built between 1896 and 1904, Jorstad is complete with dungeons, turrets, suits of armor, and secret passageways. Most recently, this castle has served as a retreat center and a unique setting for weekend church services. George Bolt founded the Thousand Islands Club on Wellesley Island in the late 1800s. At that time, it was the world's most exclusive club, with an initiation fee of $100,000 and an annual fee of $10,000.
The Thousand Island Club is located on Millionaires Row, which is right in the heart of the Thousand Islands. Right now we have 135 seasonal slips. We have a pool, tennis courts, basketball, volleyball. We have a rec room, recreational room. We have 20 individual plush bathhouses, laundry facilities, gazebos, hammocks, first-class amenities. We have a beautiful restaurant which is open Wednesday through Sundays for dinners. You have the luxury of the peace and tranquility over here, and if you want the hustle, bustle, and more alive nightlife, then we're only 5 minutes from Alexandria Bay by boat.
Well, this concludes our programs on the Oswego Canal, Sackett's Harbor, and the Thousand Islands. Thanks for cruising America's waterways with us, and join us next time as the adventure continues.
a heavy load of friends. He says, yes, boy, when we left the station, your friends were all on board. But West Virginia was all they could afford. Here come the train of glory, coming right on time. Won't you do me a favor? Pick up my friends along the line. Won't you do me a favor, Lord? Pick up my friends along